live from the basement car park at Area 51 and broadcast worldwide in association with leading radio stations via the internet. It's the Elegant Universe. Your host, abducted from Melbourne, Australia. Here's Peter Gagliardi and Shane Hill. Welcome back to the only show where things that go bump in the night actually get invited into the studio. You've joined us again on the Elegant Universe with Frankie Hamster.
Hello.
And, of course, the beautiful Hayley.
Welcome back.
And, of course, the host with the most, a legend in his own pyjamas, it's Peter.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Okay, now we've got a very special guest on the show, Frankie.
We do. Okay, we've got comedian and writer Krissy Faye, as she's known to everyone on Facebook and stage and screen. Very interesting person. She'll be being interviewed later on in the show.
Cool.
You forgot to mention beautiful.
I did forget to mention beautiful.
I saw
again.
I saw in the
Someone's
green room.
winning brownie points.
But, you know, I like to tone down the sexism in my life and, you know, not make
in your life.
Yes,
I need more in mine, and you're trying to tone it down. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, a really big show for you today, packed full of interesting stuff, including horoscopes.
That's right.
Okay.
Rushing for the papers every day to find out what the stars have got to say about the fortunes that are on the way. It's crazy, crazy, working and waiting that forever will hold. Success comes from what we do, not from what we're told.
Okay, so Aquarius. Unfortunately, it's back to being a tough week again for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So Aquarius, this week, an incident with super glue will leave you with a conjoined twin. Going to the toilet will be very difficult.
Oh, this is terrible.
Gotta love that. We've also got some news, I believe. Frankie.
Yes, we do. There's news coming out from Sky News, of all people, about penguins in Antarctica being sexually harassed by seals. Now, this is...
I read about this.
Yeah, this is for real. Okay, now, what the article basically says here is, well, it's not the first time that amorous seals have been spotted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
You know, I remember that we did a whole show, well, not a whole show, we did a section on a show a while back. Remember the thing about dolphins raping people?
Yes.
Remember that?
And dead things. And
yeah, and that was pretty over the top. And now you're telling me seals are evolving.
Well, this is just bizarre because this has come out of a professor who calls himself Nico de Bruin of the...
That sounds like a villain from
Superman.
Superman.
I know, right?
Nico de Bruin.
You know, he's from the Mammalian Research Institute of the University of Pretoria in South Africa.
Pretoria.
So,
evil villain.
Yeah.
Already
villain.
it's sounding dodgy.
I'm from Squelch.
Now, he's basically saying fur seals, they often catch... they often catch penguins and things...
Don't they eat them
Fur seals
normally?
often catch and eat penguins on the island, but in 3 out of the 4 sexual incidents, the penguins were allowed to go after as a counter. Scientists are now trying to work out... Scientists are now trying to work out why the seals are behaving as they are, and have speculated that the mammals may have learned the habit from one another, right? Now... Okay, he's saying that seals have a capacity for learning.
Yeah.
Now, I'm starting to think that Julian Blanca's possibly been down to South Africa.
Of course
down to Antarctica. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
I know what this is.
What is it?
This is the propaganda of the rape culture that seals, they put forward to their young.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For what?
You know how the feminist movement reckons that we're the only ones with rape culture? Seals. Seals, there you go.
Well, maybe seals also have a feminist movement.
Can you imagine that?
Seal feminism. I think we should do a segment on seal feminism.
That's funny as.
No, it's the way the penguins dress. Have you seen
Yeah,
Well, this is
always
just,
in their suits.
Yeah,
like
and it's
Okay,
really
okay.
provocative.
maid's costume?
Back to
It's really provocative for
penguin feminism. Okay, just because a girl is just a female penguin is dressed provocatively, it doesn't mean you should take advantage of it.
Oh, so expect a slut walk down at Dawson Station.
Exactly. No, it'll be exactly. Next time we go watch the Penguin Parade, they'll all be wearing bikinis and holding up big signs.
Oh my God!
Okay.
I mean, this could be a boon for Phillip Island, though.
It could be.
It really could.
I'm not sure it should be, but it could be.
Grand Prix and the Fairy Penguin Parade would now transform into a gender awareness.
Interspecies sex awareness.
Well, yes.
That's what it would be.
This could be good for all concerned. But I mean, we have to let Professor De Bruin have the last word here. He said, look, honestly, I did not expect that follow-up sightings of this would ever be made again, and certainly not on multiple occasions. So, obviously, Professor De Bruin has been researching sex between seals and penguins for a long time.
He's been hiding behind the snow hill watching.
Behind a little bush.
We call it stalking, he calls it research.
Yeah. Also, this guy, what's he a professor of? Genetics. He probably genetically altered them.
No. He says he's a professor of mammalian studies.
Ah.
Now, when I saw that, I thought mammalian protuberances, but I mean, he is talking just about mammals.
Yeah. Imagine what he downloads. Anyway, you're listening to The Elegant Universe. We'll be back. Don't forget, coming up, our very special guest. What's her name again?
Krissy Faye.
Krissy Faye will be on the show. Stand by for that.
So this is a song that I think best exemplifies you and Tanya's relationship. And here we go. Ready?
We met when we were young, got married by 21. It was lots of fun, but now I want to get a divorce. You're always smoking weed and playing Nintendo Wii. You always miss when you pee, so now I want to get a divorce. You used to gaze into my eyes and tell me I was the best, but now you'll stare at anything with 2 thighs and a breast. So guess what? Now you can stare at my lawyer. 'Cause you're broke. And you snore. And when you went to Vegas, I know that you screwed this whore.
No, I didn't.
You've been cheating on me, so I packed up all your things, even your Star Wars figurines, 'cause now I wanna get a divorce. I found porn on your laptop, of course, barely of age. You're always poking ex-girlfriends on your Facebook page. But guess what? Turns out I can poke too. I slept with him and him and him. And him and them and her. Your brothers Tim and Dean. And this basketball team. So bye. Don't cry. Don't worry about the kids, 'cause they're not really yours.
What? Hey! Is she for real? Where are we going?
Live on 94.1 FM and worldwide on the 3WBC network and funded by Black Ops from the Illuminati. It's The Elegant Universe. Welcome back. It turns out we've got more horoscopes.
We do. Okay, so Pisces. This week, you will not be able to beat a boss on Zelda. Seriously, 5-year-olds can do this.
What?
I love it.
It's real life struggles, man.
Oh,
Real life struggles.
Okay, I'm out of the loop on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
While we've got you here, Hayley, you've
Yes.
got news.
I do have news. Okay. So, you know how sometimes you get your coffee from a fancy cafe
Yeah.
and it'll have,
sometimes.
sometimes,
Yeah.
and it'll have some decent art on it.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
Yeah.
coffee art is something I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
Yep.
Probably never will. Just, on that list of whatever. But there's a news story that's come out of some very scandalous coffee art.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in Starbucks in America, somewhere in Louisiana, actually, a woman received her 2 cold beverages, and the drawings on them were a pentagram and 666.
I've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that.
This is in the Bible Belt. That's awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there was an uproar. I mean, I don't know how many people this barista had probably
Done this.
done this to previously, but this woman, Megan Pinion, complained on the Facebook
Oh,
on
yes.
their
Oh, yes.
Starbucks page afterwards, saying that he's like, she is no way judging his beliefs or dismissing his beautiful
Yeah, of
artwork.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Yeah.
But she was very, very offended that she received a pentagram and a 666
I'm
on
sure
her coffee.
she was. It's a
Yeah,
case of,
I would have thought it'd be cool.
Excuse me, I just spilled Satan in my lap.
Yeah, $2 million, please.
It's almost like if you're ingesting then the satanic drawings,
Yeah.
you're then like ingesting
Yeah.
Satan.
Yeah.
He's going to come out with your soul afterwards, like, hey, get him through coffee.
There's a thing going around. I'm not sure if you guys have seen it. I saw it very, very briefly about the mother can. Have you seen that?
Yes, yeah.
How, and for listeners that
Yeah.
don't know, the mother can symbol apparently equals 666, and there's a cross on the bottom of it, and when you turn the drink up to drink it, it turns the cross upside down. So it's obviously the Antichrist.
I have
Couldn't
never
be
noticed this.
advertising or anything.
Yeah, and if you cut that can up and put it on a turntable and play
Yeah.
it backwards, it plays Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
actually, if you not many people know this, but if you remember Patsy Biscoe,
I do
She
remember
do-
Patsy
she-
Biscoe.
yeah.
I still have one of her albums.
yeah,
Thank
cool.
you, Shane.
Put
Yes.
it on, play it backwards.
Really?
Yeah, because it goes. Kill your parents while they sleep.
Are you
Kill
serious?
the dog. Yeah, if you play it
Because
backwards.
I
So
swear,
there's
to you,
satanic
no,
messages.
I swear, when I was writing a Patsy Biscoe around 5-6 years old, I used to have nightmares about killing mum and dad.
Yeah, this is
This is a
I think
revelation for me.
Might be an urban legend, but a good
Oh,
one.
man.
They also are building, I don't know what you call it, a satanic temple? Is that what you call it?
Well, yeah,
Uh,
house of worship.
Satanist.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you
Anyway,
wouldn't call it a synagogue. You wouldn't call it a church. Yeah, so
Satanic temple.
place.
they're
Yeah.
building one in America,
Dungeon.
one of the main places. No, it's fully legit, and there's this huge statue. It's about 12 foot tall with two little kids, and it's Satan, and they're sitting in his lap and stuff like this. This is true.
Yeah.
It's already been done.
No,
They've
I
already
believe
done
that.
it.
Because I think Satanism is rather taking off in America
Yeah.
because I've heard that the Satanist church, should we
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
have been sending out colouring books to primary
Yes.
schools.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
really?
that's
Yeah.
I was going to
Yeah.
lead to that. They're doing that.
But if this is starting in America, eventually we're going to see satanic televangelists saying, "Send money now, and we'll
Yeah,
damn
well,
your soul forever."
We're always
You
two
know.
steps behind America, so Satanism is going to be like the next big trend here.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, you know, what's happened is the whole religious freedom thing has
Yeah.
come back and is biting them in the ass.
Yeah.
Because they've got, we want our, they're always, every time you say something against them,
Yep.
they come out in droves and they wave their flags and all this. So the Satanists have gone, okay, we can play that game.
Well, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
of
yeah.
course.
Well,
But
it's
I mean,
only fair.
yeah.
how long will it take though until a satanic televangelist is caught in a love tryst with a hockey player? Now that
yeah,
is
but
going to be
But that
rough.
will work to his advantage.
Exactly.
Yeah, what a
It
good
won't,
Satanist.
it won't be a bad thing. And remember Jimmy Swaggart? He'll
Oh,
come
yeah.
out, the devil made me do it. And everyone, yeah.
You know what
yeah.
that'll be? They'll be like, so we caught you donating to charity.
Oh,
How do you
that's
feel?
it. It'll be the
Yeah,
opposite.
you'll be like, I didn't mean it.
We heard you're actually a very nice guy. No,
Yeah.
no,
No,
not
they're
me,
all
not
lies,
me.
all
Exactly,
lies.
yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and when it
Satanist-
happens, Frankie, you'll be on the show giving us the conspiracy theory.
I certainly
you
will. I
will.
certainly will. I'll keep my finger on that pulse. You can be
That's
guaranteed.
Speaking-
of that.
Yes.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, I have a very interesting conspiracy theory coming up.
Yeah,
Especially,
cool,
Frankie, you'll
cool.
be interested in it.
I will. You know,
I think
will.
the listeners will be.
They
Yeah.
will.
It's groundbreaking.
Let's have another horoscope before we go to the break.
Let's go.
Okay, so Aries. This week, a broken floorboard will give you a splinter in your foot. It makes walking difficult, but doesn't quite warrant a wheelchair.
That's because it's all about Satan. We'll be back after this with Krissy Faye.
Welcome back to the Elegant Universe on 3WBC. So I'm going to bring you in with another horoscope, and this time it's Taurus's turn. So Taurus, this week a friend will force you to watch Grease. The soundtrack will be in your head all week.
Oh, there's a nice earworm for you.
Oh, terrible.
Anyway, we've got a wonderful guest in the studio this afternoon,
We
comedian
do.
and writer Krissy Faye. Welcome, Krissy.
Thank you for having me down here, downtown Boorandarra.
Oh yeah, gotta love Box Hill. Look, I'm going to jump straight into a wonderful interview with you. Look, I first saw you perform in around maybe August last year at Death Star Comedy Canteen in Collingwood, which, to our listeners, is rated in the top 5 open mic rooms in Australia.
Nice,
When did you
yeah.
first start comedy, Krissy?
Actually, only a few months before that, Frank. So, yeah, I was Pugs in Space when it was in the original...
The original Pugs in Space, yeah.
Irish pub in Hardware Lane.
Oh, that's awesome.
I used to go out to a lot of comedy. I love comedy. And I met Greg Fleet one night.
As we all do.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
And I said, Greg... First he said to me, can I have a cigarette? I said, of course you can.
Of course you do.
And then I said, that cigarette's going to cost you. And later on he gave me the name and number of lovely Sam Peterson, who's a wonderful comedian on the circuit. And they gave me a spot. Sight unseen laws.
That's
just
nice.
like me, absolutely.
So basically, if you want to be a comedian, take up smoking and just kind of throw your cigarettes around.
That is the way. You buy a carton.
And just give them out.
And give them out.
Yeah, actually, you don't even have to smoke. I don't condone smoking particularly, so don't even smoke. Just stand out the front, looking cool,
and handing
out your cigarettes.
That's it. And then getting something back for it.
Exactly.
At least $1, if not some good advice.
Now, Krissy, I have to ask, because ostensibly you're a little bit older than normal comedians that are just starting out. I have to ask you, do you have any advice for any of our listeners that are, say, around, 40, that want to get into comedy? Any advice for them?
I've got 2 words.
Yep.
Phyllis Diller.
Okay, fair enough.
There's a lot of women, particularly who started later in life. Mm-hmm. I'm real old. Like, I'm in my...
What?
Yeah,
what?
I am in my mid-50s, and they tell me...
What?
Yes. How can you... That's impossible.
That just blew my mind.
Yeah.
No, seriously, that just...
But I didn't always look like this or sound like this or act like this.
Okay.
Comedy. Yeah, comedy has given me something.
A new lease on life.
It has. It's given me something back. I was a miserable office chick for
You sound like one of those. Sounds like one of those infomercials you see at night. I was normal until I did this thing.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe you sold your soul to do comedy and get your youth back.
Yeah.
And we were just talking
Makes
about
sense.
Satanism on the show. Now, I think you may actually be the current Satan in the room.
I've got to admit, I have my numbers done. Numerologically speaking, I am 666.
Oh, no.
Cross
The
ourselves.
mark of, you didn't know that
No,
about
I
me, did you,
didn't.
Frank?
No, I didn't.
Well,
That's
now
it.
you know.
No.
Who's got the holy water? Quick, stat.
There's certain things that Google won't reveal about a person. But there's certain things that Google will reveal. It seems that you have been the subject of 2 books written by Anne Defferson, one called Faces of Change and one called Resilience. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, that's when I was really young and gorgeous up in Sydney, 21. Actually, that was an ABC TV nationwide program on
Faces of Change.
Faces of Change on women in the 80s, and I was a young punk chick. Now I'm just an old punk chick. But so the book came out of that, and then a further book came out about Anne Defferson wrote this book about resilience. She's a wonderful broadcaster, and she was head of the Children's Television Foundation for years. A great woman, great inspiration. And, she wrote a book about resilience, and she happened to mention me for a page and a half. And she also mentioned Nelson Mandela, but he only got half a page.
So what, you were the subject of these books because of your resilience?
Yeah.
Or I mean, but what specifically? Why did she choose you and Nelson Mandela and put you in the same book?
What makes you more deserving of pages than Nelson Mandela?
Well, this is a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I really put it down to she knows me better than Nelson.
Okay,
Mandela.
yeah.
But she was talking about how people can, grow out of their past, where they come from. And, I'm not saying that mine was so bad, but it was, I wasn't meant for great things. So I had to kind of get myself out there. And I think I did that through being a punk.
Okay.
I really did, because I used to just walk around like full makeup. I looked like a drag queen on acid or something. In the middle of Sydney, it was great days. In your 20s, it's always wonderful, whatever you do. But, it just came about because I could talk, and I could, talk about myself a lot, which I'm doing here, obviously, today. So people find me interesting.
So you were the kind of person that, like in today, looks normal on the 86 tram, but 30 years ago looked kind of weird in Pitt Street.
Absolutely. Yeah, the police used to stop me and say, "Where are you from?" And I'd say Melbourne, and they'd say, "Well, get back to Melbourne. That's in Sydney, though.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, they were just...
Yeah, back in the 80s, they thought we're all weird because we had things like the Paul Hogan Show and, wonderful programs like that. They think, those people are down in Melbourne. They don't know humour. It's all weird. They're just weird down there.
Yeah.
So, you've had a really interesting life. Now, there's been a movie where you're not, of course, in the movie, but you were... The movie was based on your life. That movie's called Tenterhooks. What can you tell us about that?
Oh, yeah, my mate made that again in the 80s in Sydney. It's a bit of a comedy love story about a guy who goes to jail and I'm the girlfriend that kind of waits for him and visits him until he escapes and I decide not to go with him,
And
which was based on real
The boyfriend who
life.
went to jail didn't happen to be Nelson Mandela?
Oh,
That was clever.
No, it wasn't. Funnily enough.
Not quite.
I wish.
Yeah, you would have been waiting a long time, a long time.
Very
I don't think you even had visitation rights.
Well, this is it. No, it was just a period of time where, as I said, people get interested if you're living a little bit of an interesting life. So that was that was great.
Well, I think we're going to go to a brief break, and after that, we'll be back with Krissy Faye. You are listening to the Elegant Universe Radio Show.
Welcome back to 94.1 FM. Okay, guys, horoscopes.
Okay, so Gemini, this week you will buy a flannelette shirt. People can no longer tell if you're homeless or a lesbian.
I hope you're listening to that one, Harley Breen. All right, Krissy. Now, I've got to ask you, you said before that you were a punk office chick. So is that where your comedy comes from?
Well, I left full-time office work after nearly 40 years because I kept getting all these formal complaints put in against me.
Oh, perish the thought.
I think I was doing good gags. It was just the wrong room. That's how I've...
Oh, right. So you were like the office clown.
Pretty much.
How dare you be different to everyone else? How dare you?
I have fun at work. So I figured I might be in the wrong line of work. Took me a while to figure that out. And I had a lot of spare time on my hands in between Centrelink appointments. And I love comedy, as I said. I just go out to rooms and watch. And I
thought you're saying your biggest influence is yourself?
Yeah, I'd say so.
That goes along with how she talks about herself all the time.
That's it.
That's awesome.
That's it.
Well, what's the best gig you've done?
Oh, look, I've got to say, it was recently.
Is this Funny at the Brunny? Are you going to talk about that?
I might, yeah. That was just the other night, Monday night. There's a great, at the East Brunswick Hotel, there's a great room runs every second Monday night, Funny at the Brunny. And I don't know, I cooked up this bit and it was just one of those perfect storms. Everything just came together on the night.
That's right. You smashed it in front of Nick Cody, one of Australia's biggest comedians.
Oh, well, apparently.
Is Nick Cody one of the biggest now?
Well, he is, yeah.
I remember when he started.
I know.
I was there. And I was like, hey,
No, he is. Nick's one of the biggest comedians in the country.
Wow.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic. What about your worst gig? What can you tell us about that?
That might have been at...
Yeah, where? Come on.
Look,
you haven't had one, have you?
No,
you haven't had one.
I've had two. I've had a couple. I've had three. My very first gig, I actually paid $2 to see myself bomb.
How does that work?
I didn't know. The gold coin donation to go and see,
yeah.
And I thought, I better put in. And I thought, well, I'm getting up. Well, that's $2. I wasn't that good, so I didn't feel like I'd lost that much money. But
fair enough.
Look,
comedy isn't a parking meter, is it?
It's not. In fact, one of the wonderful things I've discovered about comedy, it's not all about me. Comedy there's something about the comedy community. That's what I was looking for. When I finished full-time work, I actually really wanted to, I needed to be somewhere where people would go, hey, how you going, like the office work, but better.
Well, we know all about a sense of community. You're listening to 3WBC FM, Community Radio.
Community Radio. That's the other thing I do in my life is I'm with PBS Radio, which is down in Easy Street, Collingwood. That's all about the music. I'm here today. I think it's about self-expression. For me, it's about self-expression. But I think I've found a little purpose in this world, and that's to bring a little bit of joy to people.
That's wonderful.
Oh, that's
You're
nice.
like Santa Claus.
Well, comedy is a vocation, isn't it? You've got to make people laugh.
calling.
Essentially, that's your primary function. If you're not making people laugh, you're wasting their time and or money. and wasting people's free drink cards.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. So
now, I've got to ask you too, what star sign are you?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, so
Yes.
Haley's already done
Yes,
your
so
horoscope.
she's been having as much trouble in Zelda as I have.
Oh,
lately.
yes,
I
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Not that I really know what Zelda
There-
is.
there's-
but
That's
I'll
why
get
you're
on
having
board.
trouble with it. If you knew what Zelda was, you wouldn't have all this trouble. Yeah,
Exactly.
education through comedy. That's the way it works, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen.
Now, while you're here, I think I might share my conspiracy theory with you, and I think everybody who will
Oh,
find
yeah.
it very interesting. My reason you'll find it very interesting is that it's about our very own Frank Hamster.
Oh my
Frankie, what did you do?
God.
Okay. So for the listeners who may not be able to see our very own Frank Hamster, he is always wearing a bandana.
Yeah.
This is true.
Always. In fact, even in his identification photos, he is wearing a bandana.
Again, this is true.
Exactly. Now, some people say that he just wears it to hide a receding hairline, maybe a bit of a hairy mole.
Yeah.
I say that he is wearing it to hide his third eye. And-
Okay.
And
yes.
he uses this third eye
Yep.
to delve into people's minds and find conspiracies.
Ladies and gentlemen, I do not endorse the comments that have just been said by my fellow
I
Elegant
am-
Universe radio
I am
show host.
revealing the secrets.
Okay.
And so with this third eye, he can see everything. He knows everything. And soon enough, he'll be able to control us all. Just a warning.
That's
Just a warning.
worrying.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, my God.
Your nickname when you were little was
Mega?
Cyclops.
Yes, it was. It was. That is true.
So I don't know if we're supposed to like steal them and burn them or poke him in the third eye, but
It doesn't matter because even if you're stealing my bandanas, I've still got blinds that I can wear. You know, I've got all kinds of things. You know, closing over my third eye is something I've gotten used to over the decades. But
So what do you think? Do you think Frankie has a third eye? Go to the Elegant Universe radio show Facebook page and like the page and give your comments there. We're going to go to a break, and when we return, more.
As the celestial tree of life spreads its branches throughout the cosmos, we find sitting below it a little man using a bandana to hide a circumcision scar. It's the Elegant Universe. Welcome back. Joined here with our very special guest, the very attractive, the very funny, the very intelligent Krissy Faye. Welcome back, Krissy.
You're too kind. I'll have to take your word for
Oh, no,
how I look.
Yeah, no, I learned. If there's one thing I learned off Frankie, it's how to get women, invite them on your show. Yeah. So I've been sort of cruising around the edges of the entertainment industry for quite some time, and something I always find quite fascinating is how people come up with their ideas. For like, so I mean, I work for hours. I obsess over individual words in my script, and everything's got to be psychologically correct. And I mean, Peter will tell you, we go through agony over individual words sometimes.
Yeah.
What's the process like for you? How do you get your ideas?
Very similar, agonising over individual words. For example, the word chick.
Yeah.
I've reclaimed that. I'm old. I can say what I want. You know, I had to make a decision about that because there's some in the comedy community who think that's an old-fashioned
Whoa, what?
chick.
Yeah.
When you call a
Yeah.
woman a chick.
Yeah, feminist.
Yeah, see,
you
do
draw
I
wrong
say?
audiences.
Yeah. I say in the scale
I'm not
of
a
things.
chick, I'm
yeah.
a woman.
Yeah, I don't care what you call me. Really, actually, as long as it's not
Really?
offense. No, I don't really care.
don't say that to Shane.
Well,
Don't
you
say
just
that to
opened the
Shane.
door. Yeah.
Just don't call me late for dinner. No, that's an old gag. But
Yeah.
I think on the scale of things, there's some words that are so inoffensive and lame. I
Yeah.
want to embrace them all
Okay.
over again, just to like whack, like just put a bit of a rooster in the hen house of all those words that can't. Be said without it being a great big uproar. That's not a word I have a problem with.
When I was younger, I stumbled across the C word, the most offensive
chick
word.
word.
Well, let's call it the chick word.
Right.
And I found that because it was so offensive, it was so funny.
Yeah.
And I kept that going for years and years and years. And then slowly I noticed society started integrating it into the way people talk. And then when I got older, everyone uses it. Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like, it has no value now.
Yeah.
So now I've got to think of another word.
I
I've got to
was
think of another
talking
word.
about that exact word the other night with my friends.
Yeah.
Because even like for us growing up, that is the word that you
Yeah,
never,
yeah.
ever say. Even the toughest kids
Yep.
won't dare say it. And now it's almost
It's-
become slang. I mean,
Yeah.
we're calling each other like sick chicks or like funny chicks.
Yeah.
It's
It's been the word's been weakened.
Taking that into account, Krissy,
Yeah.
where does your comedy come from? Is it? Are you telling your life story? Are you getting just going for the gag?
Yeah.
Or what's
Do you create characters?
Yeah.
Or do you?
What's the process you go through?
I am creating the character that is Krissy, the comedian.
Okay.
So now,
So it's
here's
like
the
a
trick.
version 2.0 of yourself
That's the
on stage,
That's
right?
it.
Okay, so
Okay.
it's you, but a different version of you.
That's it. So the trick is, if you want a unique story, you draw it from your own real life experiences.
That'll never work.
That'll never.
So you've got to get out and about and you've got to have funny experiences. But once you start to train your brain to see things comedically, you can draw on that for just an ordinary trip up the shop and back.
Yeah.
I was on a tram, the 86 tram. I did this bit up at Funny at the Brunny, and it actually happened. An older woman was saying on the tram, we should ban the burqa. And she was a full-on bogan. She was on the 86.
Did she end up on YouTube and Facebook?
Well, I kept playing on my mind, so I thought I'm going to do a bit on this. And it was about, we've got a whole lot of terrorist alert, we've got war, as a conversation happening every day in the news. And they're calling for a burqa ban. The bogans are braying for a burqa ban on the 86 tram.
Right.
The bit is, what? A Muslim woman is going to all of a sudden convert to a bogan by whipping off her headscarf, sucking on the beer, and, throwing up the next morning. Doesn't that mean she'd have to hate herself as well?
Yes.
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 So that was a little bit of a thinker.
Right.
I held the room
Oh,
with that.
thinking comedy. Okay.
And then the punchline is, if I can remember it.
That's the thing
yes,
about being
I
old,
won't
forgetting your punchline.
Where's my notes? I won't be joining Team Australia. Frankly, I didn't make the pick. I am not concerned with the Coalition of the Concerned. I don't really know what that is, but I will be making my stand on the 86 tram because I know no one is going to give me a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
You know what I saw on the tram, right?
I give up.
This is hilarious.
What did you see?
It's both sad and hilarious.
Yeah.
There was a young kid sitting on the seat,
Right.
and this woman was just sort of real fat woman too. So like obviously, doesn't look after herself. But she's all like, oh, young kids. And she went on and on and on about, how disrespectful people are and all this sort of thing. And when the kid got up, the kid had a prosthetic leg.
Right.
And I had to laugh. I had to say, how do you feel now, woman? How do you feel now?
Comments by the hosts are not necessarily supported or believed by 3WBC. We respect people no matter what weight they are.
Oh, I respect them.
Yeah, sure.
Just don't get me to catch you if you fall over, Bad back.
Well, if they're true feminists, they won't want you to catch
Exactly.
them anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hit the ground with equal force. Go for it.
Go for it. Let's have a horoscope.
Okay, so Cancer. This week you will get severely sunburnt. Then you will be eaten by mosquitoes. Now both scratching and not scratching is torture.
Oh, dear. Okay, we're on the show with Krissy Faye, and we'll be back in just a minute. Elegant universe supplied by the same science team that invented gravity. Yes, welcome back. We're here with our very special guest, Krissy Faye. Krissy, have you got any gigs coming up we need to know about?
I do have a couple of spots.
Awesome.
Comedy at the Thornbury Local, which is
What's
High
that?
Street. Well, that's once a month, first Wednesday of the month.
What's that, like a pub or?
It's a really groovy little bar.
Oh, okay,
and
cool,
when you're
cool.
talking about Thornbury hipsters, we call them thripsters.
Thripsters.
So come down amongst the thripsters and have a laugh. That's great there. I've got a comedy rap battle coming up at Station 59 in Richmond.
Funny, comedy rap battle. How's that going to go?
Christ only knows.
I think you look pretty gangster, so I think you can pull it off.
Thank you.
So hang on, it's going to be like the rap battles they have in America, where your mum is so fat and you're so ugly, that kind of thing.
Pretty much. Yep. And
Live on stage, full contact comedy tonight. Be there.
So Frank and I are going to do one of those together.
Oh, hang on, you're doing with Frankie Hamster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he didn't tell us this.
It's to the death.
Yeah.
To the death.
It's to the death.
To the death.
So it might change our show forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? You got to poke him in his third eye.
Yep.
I have.
That's how you
already,
win.
Maybe
Actually.
circumcision scar.
And I entered his brain and came out the other side once I did that. But no, that's going to be great fun. And then I've got Chevron's comedy at the Butterfly Club. In fact, it's the second last ever. Chevron's comedy at the Butterfly Club. A beautiful Butterfly Club run by Clayton Steele in the city.
Yes.
So, but that'll be reinvented some other room. That's a fabulous thing about Melbourne comedy.
Are they closing?
Just that night. He's
Oh,
he's
right,
got
okay.
a Thursday, Friday night, but I think, he runs a lot of things. He's just ending that one and no doubt looking to open up something else.
I did a full season at the Butterfly Club, and it was the coolest thing was when you go up the stairs and there's that room full of paraphernalia, and it's just I was totally in my element.
It was cool.
Very,
cool
very
room.
cool.
Yeah, it's a great room.
Anything else coming up?
Well, I suppose I better get up and do raw comedy again.
You're going to...
I did that last-
Have you done raw comedy before?
Just last summer.
Okay, how'd you go?
I picked the wrong bit to do. I
Okay,
now
that
know
happens.
better.
Yes.
I only had one
they
bit.
say you live and you learn by dying. Yeah.
That's it. I got good response, but I now know that I need to write something for that.
Right, okay, yeah. You've got to be adaptable to your audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're going to hook your web page up to... or actually, do you have a web page?
I haven't yet, but I've got a Facebook.
Okay, we're going to hook your
Yep.
Facebook page up to the Elegant Universe page.
Oh, marvellous.
So anyone who wants to see just exactly how gorgeous you really are
get out
can
of
go
town.
there and have a look. Let's do a horoscope.
Okay, so Leo, this week you'll be dead to drink your own urine. It wouldn't have been so bad.
This week?
This week, it wouldn't have been so bad if you didn't eat Indian last night.
Oh.
Dear. Oh, dear. We'll be back in a minute with more of Krissy Faye. Show that walks up to the door of the unexplained and then realises we've left our keys in the other pants. Okay, Krissy, on every show, well, not every show, we haven't done this for a while, but we used to, when we were running the other show, every guest we had on, we would ask them what was their favourite conspiracy theory. We're throwing that question open to you now.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I'm not sure if anyone else shares this one, but I actually believe that Clive Palmer is Gina Reinhardt in drag.
Okay.
I'm going to blow you mind. We've never seen him in the same room,
Yeah.
ever. They both share a similar size wardrobe.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're both megalomaniacal mining magnates.
Okay. That's and now I'm gonna go back to when you started this. You went, I actually believe.
Yeah. that is worrying, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See, we deal with conspiracy theories, but we don't actually believe.
Yes, see my favourite conspiracy theory is that J.K. Rowling is actually in the magical world of Harry Potter as a squib documenting it. But I'm not sure I'd say I actually believe it.
Yeah. It would. Well, I don't know. Hang on, that does actually sound pretty good.
Yeah.
That's. If I was going to believe a conspiracy theory,
It's that one?
Yeah, that's one of them. That would be a good one.
Yeah.
The other one would be the reptilian lizard people from Dimension
Yeah,
X.
that's fantastic.
Yeah, disguising themselves as old Catholic nuns. Yeah, one of my favourite movies of all time is Topless Motorcycle Nuns from Dimension X. So I recommend everybody watch that.
And there's no toplessness. There's no nuns. I don't even think there's any nuns or motorcycles.
There are no motorcycles, anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Dimension X? Is there a dimension?
Oh, yeah. Dimension X, yeah.
Of
Yeah,
course.
stuff
Top of
comes-
that, the
But
title,
but you wouldn't get the crowd you would
Yeah.
by just calling it Dimension X.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. A good name for a band.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're listening to the Elegant Universe, and it is time, once again, for another horoscope.
Okay, so Virgo. This week, a 5-kilogram bag of Desiree potatoes will come into your life. It's true love until you step onto the scales. Scorpio. This week, you will lose a drunken bet and have to splash out $7.98 to buy a bag of potatoes. Life sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Elegant Universe. Well, this is weird. I'm at the wrong microphone. We've swapped positions. It feels kind of creepy.
Yeah, aren't you always feeling kind of creepy?
Mostly.
Yeah.
Mostly. Okay, we're back here in the studio with Krissy Faye, our special guest. I say again, the very beautiful Krissy Faye. And
What a charmer.
Lying.
No,
He's
no,
got
I
a
was
great
a little
head for
bit
radio.
stunned for two reasons. The first reason was that you actually say you're in your mid-50s and either you're exceptionally good with makeup or you've got good genes.
Yep.
No, she sold her soul to the devil.
That's
Sold
it.
her
That's
one.
right.
the other option.
Yeah.
Six.
Speaking of selling your soul to the devil, I made the connection. I know where I know you from. A
Where?
couple of weeks ago, we did a show, I think you were there too, Pete,
Yeah.
at, where is it, Sugar Laughs?
Yes, yep.
Right, now, you actually ended up on stage with me,
I did.
helping me out, and
Oh,
you were
yeah.
funny, and I think Frankie was there.
Yeah, yeah.
But there was no cohesion, nothing was set
No.
up, it was all things. So,
Wink, wink. Yeah, go on.
Here's your 50.
Yeah.
Here's what I've got planned for next time. Okay,
Go on.
Next time, and you may be interested in this. Both Frankie and Krissy may be interested in this.
Go
I'm
on.
going to do something no one has ever done on stage before.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill someone,
What?
then bring them back to life.
Whoa.
So details of that as we go, and believe me, if anybody knows I can do it, you three know I can pull this off.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So what I'm going to
It'll be
do
fine.
is I'm going to
Let's
invite
trust
you on stage, Krissy, kill you.
Bring it back to life.
We'll have a doctor and a nurse there, make sure that you're technically dead, and then bring you back to life.
This
Are you up for that?
I am. I didn't know you cared so
Mind you,
much. I
Krissy,
didn't realise.
This is providing that you survive your rap battle to the death. with
Well,
Assuming,
this is
yeah.
it.
Assuming,
This is it.
yeah.
Well, like I know how to die on stage.
Speaking of all things cosmic, horoscopes.
Okay, we have one final horoscope. So Capricorn, this week you'll get electrocuted playing PlayStation. Finally, game violence feels super realistic.
Excellent. You know,
That time.
speaking of super realistic, there are some things that aren't that realistic, yet they try to sell themselves as realistic.
Yeah.
I think a Goldfish beauty competition is one of those things.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was quite a forced segue as well, but
Yeah.
we'll go with it. Okay.
You just don't know when to stop. do you?
Exactly. So I have an interesting news story coming out of China,
Yep.
where they held a goldfish beauty pageant just about a month ago. Okay, so over 3,000 fish
Mm-hmm.
from over 14 countries battled it out for the title of Miss Goldfish.
Miss Goldfish.
Yes, and there were 16 different categories
out.
that they could win in,
Hang on. What's the
including
entertainment category? Right.
The swimwear.
well, not quite swimwear, but they were judged on their swimming,
Right,
Oh,
okay,
fair.
yeah.
their appearance.
This is a real thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
there
this is
wa-
a
there
real
was,
thing.
There was a category for the different breeds,
Mm-hmm.
and also general impression. So maybe just a really charismatic
Oh,
goldfish.
baby. We've got to get out of here. Oh, you
And-
mean impression, not impressions.
That's funny.
Yeah, no. Imagine a goldfish coming up and I'm George Clooney and and
You know how
Go
the
on, yeah.
goldfish are apparently got a really, really short memory?
Yeah.
You can imagine it turns around and there's just a wall.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, life's pretty boring. Turn around, there's cameras and everything. Oh, my God. And it just keeps swimming in circles, freaking
Yeah.
itself out.
What's that
What was all these people doing here?
Why is that castle there?
yeah. Well, I want to ask you, how much do you think a goldfish usually costs?
Couple
I've
of
heard
bucks.
of the carp variety selling for up to $3,000.
Yeah, exactly. Some of
Yeah.
the goldfish entered. I've got $2,000, but yeah,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of them were worth about $2,000. And I'll tell you who won Miss Goldfish.
Who won?
Who is Miss
I-
Goldfish?
Okay, I don't know if
She's got a
she
name.
has a name,
Sally Boyden.
Oh,
but
no.
I can basically just tell you that she was a 1.75 kilogram goldfish.
That's a
not
big
goldfish.
goldfish.
Out a name. By your reckoning, Haley, I reckon last summer up at the Murray, I caught about $50,000 worth of goldfish.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, China have a very large export of goldfish apparently. So
Huh?
That's where you got to go with your goldfish.
It's all those ponds.
Yeah, and in Japan they're worth a fortune as well. They
Yeah.
have the really, really big ones, and they can be really exotic looking, all that. But actually having be more of a renaming of a pet show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Rather than
You've got to wonder. You know how there's all the uproar about beauty pageants,
Yeah.
young girls, and even just with
Yeah,
usual
objectifying
beauty pageants.
fish.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, here we go on the whole animal political.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
we've got feminist goldfish. Are we going to
Oh,
have an uproar
Yeah, go the
about
feminists.
these goldfish?
But
being
as with
judged
all
on their
feminists,
looks?
who's
Yeah.
going to listen? You're listening to the Elegant Universe.
Elegant, of course.
Best in bold,
We'll be back
best in
after
bold.
this. Welcome back to the show voted the sexiest radio show in the universe.
By us.
By us, yes. Well done. Timing is brilliant. We have reached that time again. We've reached the end. You have survived another edition of the Elegant Universe, and we thank you for listening and spending that time with us. We also thank our very special guest, Krissy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me
You-
and for being had. Yeah.
You were absolutely brilliant. We will have you again back on the show. And it's also goodbye from Hayley.
It is. And I'm under orders from Shane to tell you all to have a good week. Now, I'm not sure how you're going to do that with all these bad things happening to you, but you can try your best.
Yeah, well, next week, tune in again because I'm sure you'll have even worse news for everybody.
Oh, of course.
And, of course, Frankie, you've got some gigs coming up.
Yes, look, I've got a big gig next week, actually, at Jackson's in Toorak. Sugar Laughs, it's the end of the month showcase. Very excited. The MC is local Melbourne legend David Tulk. I don't know if our listeners know about Tulky, but
he's
a
great.
stalwart of the Exford Hotel.
We've had him on the show.
Yeah, he's been a guest on the Elegant Universe radio show, and I'm really excited to be gigging with him. And I also want to announce my Melbourne International Comedy Festival show for next year. Fart Lab is happening. It'll be at the Clean Comedy Rooms Hub in Swanston
Fart
Street.
Labs at the Clean Comedy Room.
Yeah, well, because there's no swearing, drug references, or sexuality involved, but there's plenty of references to pull my finger.
Okay, that'll be good. Definitely be going to that.
Sure.
Also, don't forget, you could go later. You'll be able to hook up to Krissy's Facebook page
That's right.
off of our Facebook page,
Yep.
the Elegant Universe, and there'll also be photographs up a little bit later.
And also, we were told that the photo from last week hasn't been put on yet, so we'll put that on as well and make sure
Cool.
that's all up to date.
Podcasts are happening now, people.
That's right.
They're rocking and rolling. So,
Oh, yeah. My page is Hayley from the Elegant Universe. And if you missed your horoscope or if you really want to hear your bad news again,
yeah.
it's there.
Here's the thing
Definitely.
about that. You've actually got more hits than we do. So everybody already knows.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
So on behalf of myself and the crew, once again, dear listener, we'll ask you to do two things. Be safe and dream great dreams. See you
Catch.
next week.
Bye.
Catch.